Now joining me in studio is Itay, journalist, and now writing for The Wrap. He's worked at New York One, CBS News, and contributed to Salon, The Daily Beast, and Out Magazine. He's covering the political beat at TheWrap.com. Itay, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Let's start with the late night factor. Stephen Colbert has had now on Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden. How much of that is due to the Donald Trump factor?
A lot of it.
Yeah.
Experts are saying basically that this is forcing all the candidates to really turn up the charm and go on the offensive. It's so hard for them to cut through what's being called the Trump noise. And their only way to do it is really going on these late night shows because of the fact that these late night shows have a stronghold on social media. When you go on these late night appearances, you're going to go viral. And so that's one of the few tools that they have right now to try and get their message across, maybe show a little bit of their lighter side, which is always a good thing when you're trying to connect with voters.
What did I hear that something like 10 to 15% of young people get their actual news from these late night shows? Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, they looked, a specific study looked at 2012 and found that more Americans get their candidate news, so like political news during a presidential cycle, from at the time it was the Colbert Report, the Daily Show with Jon Stewart, and all the other shows on late night, more so than your traditional media. So add that to the equation, and you can see why all of these candidates, more so than ever, are trying to get on these shows. If you look at Colbert's first couple of weeks, it looks more like Meet the Press than a variety show. He's got Joe Biden, he's got Ban Ki-moon, he's got, I mean, they're not presidential candidates, but it's a lot of politics there, and one of the reasons they're saying is this is one of the ways they can get through all this Trump stuff.
Ban Ki-moon is the United Nations, not a rapper?
No.
Okay. You cover, Itay, the intersection of Hollywood and politics.
Exactly.
How are people in Hollywood reacting to Donald Trump?
You know, it depends on who you ask. The conservatives are looking at him with a lot of trepidation. At the same time, they like a lot of the things that he's saying. The problem that he has is they don't like the way he's saying it. And so a lot of people are being very hesitant about coming forward and supporting Trump because of his stance on immigration and a lot of the fights that he's had with all these different people. It's not exactly the presidential sort of candidate that they were hoping for.
But he's fighting against Fox, and he's also coming out and saying, I wouldn't pay more taxes even though I'm wealthy. So a lot of things I would suggest that he's saying are things that I would think would resonate with the Hollywood left.
It resonates with, and it's interesting that you say that because a lot of the reports lately showing that the left side is very happy with a lot of the things that Trump is saying. He's also, saying that, gay marriage is the law of the land, which is not something that you're hearing from the Republican side. The question's going to be, can he get the support of Hollywood? You could say that he doesn't really need it because of the fact that he has so much money. He's one of the only candidates that doesn't really need the support of Hollywood versus, say, Ben Carson, who is now polling in second place on the Republican side. He's going to need Hollywood, and he's going to need it badly.
In Hollywood, Bernie up, Hillary down?
Nope. Interestingly enough, people love Bernie, and he's doing really well when it comes to filling up stadiums and all these places that he's going. He's getting a lot of that grassroots support. But when it comes to Hollywood, interestingly enough, so far, Hillary seems to really have a stronghold on that part. And that's because, she's been campaigning for a good part of 3 decades almost now, since the 90s. She's had these relationships with Hollywood since 1992. Right. She's been very good about keeping those relationships, going. And I think Hollywood is still hoping that, a year from now, we have to remember, there's a long time from now until...
It's an eternity.
Eternity in politics. And so they really think that, some of these candidates are going to fizzle out. If you think about last cycle, you had Michelle Bachmann leading in all the polls. And so they really think that when it comes to the 2016 elections, come November, Hillary Clinton is still the candidate. They're still supporting her. There's a lot of questions about this whole email scandal that's raising a lot of, anxious feelings around, the Hollywood community. But at the end of the day, they're still supporting her as of yet.
Is it true the last 2 election cycles, Jeffrey Katzenberg raised something like $16 million for Obama?
He raised a lot of money, and he's already, given Hillary Clinton a nice check of $1 million.
Does Hillary get that Katzenberg money?
Oh, yep, she already got it. She's getting a lot of money from the big Hollywood donors. So we saw Chaim and Cheryl Saban, who gave each $1 million. We saw, Jeffrey Katzenberg. We saw Steven Spielberg. They're all giving nice big checks to Hillary Clinton, and that's really, how you can sort of gauge the support of Hollywood. I talked to a few of the insiders in Hollywood, and they're saying basically, you can say what you will about Bernie Sanders and even Joe Biden, who enjoys a lot of support from the Hollywood community, but at the end of the day, right now, it's still Hillary's turf.
Is there a Hollywood right? And if there is a Hollywood right, who's the face of it?
There is a Hollywood right. There's an organization called Friends of Abe, which is the leading organization for conservatives in Hollywood. They boast about 2,200 members. It was formed by Gary Sinise. They don't really talk about their members. They're kind of very low-key. They keep it very kind of secretive because of the fact that Hollywood is a very liberal town, and so they're very worried about anyone knowing that they're...
And they want to keep working.
They want to keep working. They want to make sure that that the phone doesn't stop ringing. But yeah, Gary Sinise, John Voight, there have been a few prominent leaders in the Hollywood community that are members of the Friends of Abe. I just spoke to the former co-producer of The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, who is part of that group. There are a lot of people. If you think about all the executives in Hollywood, all the people that are, not so much in front of the cameras, they tend to be, a lot of them, more Republican than Democrat. Not entirely, but there are a lot of them.
In my lifetime, I cannot think of a Republican candidate that the Hollywood community has gotten behind. Is there such an animal? Is there such a candidate that you can imagine the Hollywood community who's getting behind a Republican? It hasn't happened in a long time. I don't see that happening this cycle. The people who are going to support a Republican candidate are going to be the conservative people who are going to vote Republican, and they're going to wait and see who's going to be the one to sort of rise in the polls in the next few months. Ben Carson is doing really well right now. He's polling at about 18% versus Donald Trump's 30%. And that has to do a lot with the fact that, he's an outsider. They like the fact that he is African-American because he's the only African-American in the GOP field. And Hollywood community has that undercurrent resentment of being seen as elitist and anti-minorities, so they like the fact that here is someone who came from, a very poor background. It didn't help Herman Cain any.
It didn't. But right now it is helping, Ben Carson. He seems to be doing really well. But again, they're taking a wait-and-see approach. Right now, Trump is leading in all the polls. No one's coming out and really in big support of Carson in Hollywood, but that could change if Carson continues to do really, really well.
Well, Itay, thank you for coming by. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
For more on Itay's reporting, check out therap.com or follow him on Twitter. His handle is Itay Hod.